Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Nona from thealignedlover.com. I have another video in my intro to the Kibbe system series. Last time we looked at the extreme yin and yang families of romantic and dramatic. Today we are looking at the moderation of yin with yang with the classics. We'll be going over the soft classics and dramatic classics. So stay tuned, and if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. Alright, so before we get into the classic family or any examples, let's just briefly go over the foundational ideas behind the Kibbe system. So the Kibbe system is a system that uses the spectrum of yin and yang to kind of diagnose three main aspects of one's silhouette. Those aspects are size or your height, scaling, your frame or your bone structure, your skeleton, and last, flesh, your muscle, your tissue, what goes on top of your bones. And the whole point of classifying these three main aspects is to better understand how to extend the nature of your silhouette and have it reflected in your outfit. The system is not trying to impose different shapes or traits or attributes onto your figure. It is meant to emphasize what's already there. Now, briefly, before we go into the moderation of yin and yang, let's just go over extreme yin and extreme yang. So over here for our romantic or extreme yin example, we have Liz Taylor, who is yin in size. She looks very small, petite, compact, short-looking. She is yin in frame. Her bones are softly wide, a lot of sloping, gentle edges, roundness, shorter proportions, and delicacy. She's also yin in flesh. Her flesh is very supple, soft, rounded. It kind of dominates her frame. On the other end of the spectrum, we have dramatics, extreme yang. We have Katharine Hepburn, who is yang in size. She's tall, elongated, just larger, more statuesque looking, grander. Her frame is yang. She has more angularity, sharpness, elongation, size, broadness, streamlinedness, and she has yang flesh. Her flesh is more sleek, more elongated and firm, more lithe, and her frame is what dominates, not her flesh. All right, so let's get into our first example of soft classic. We have lovely Olivia here. She is such a beautiful soft classic. So let's go through these three attributes. So soft classics are, again, moderate with extra yin, that yin romantic undercurrent. So in terms of size, soft classics look moderate. They can be up to 5'6". And the reason for this upper limit and not a lower limit is that compact, smaller looking women can look moderate, but once you get to a certain height, a size, and this is more evident in real life, photos are deceiving, you have to accommodate for that verticality, and there comes a point where that begins to dominate your silhouette, and it needs to be accommodated accordingly. All right, so we can see, especially next to Liz, that Olivia looks more elongated, taller, less compact, and small. Now, in terms of frame, the soft classic, again, is moderate with soft rounded edges. They can be slightly delicate or slightly wide. They have a little bit more straightness, especially throughout their torso. And you can see that here with Olivia's bone structure. Her bones just don't have that soft width and lushness like Liz has. She has more elongation, a little bit more straightness, but still she has round edges. And lastly, soft classics have pretty much balanced flesh, but with extra yin. So they'll be a little fleshy and soft, but not as lush and as dominant in terms of flesh as a romantic. Now you can see that Olivia is definitely closer to Liz in silhouette relative to Katharine, but there's a midpoint that she resonates with. All right, on to the other member of the classic family. We have Jackie O, dramatic classic. So remember, dramatic is the undercurrent to their moderateness. So to be a dramatic classic, you can be up to 5'7" tall, still moderate to slightly tall. The frame is balanced with extra yang, so still moderate, but now you're seeing more of that yang, angularity, tapering, sharpness. You'll also see a good deal of squarish contours somewhere along their face or body, and they tend to have a little bit of straightness and maybe slight width, especially throughout the hips or their shoulders, or a bit of the rib cage, which you can really see on Jackie. Great example. But this width is more angular, not the soft width of the soft classic. And as you can see, with their flesh, they have more of a trim, compact, more even kind of flesh. It says here that they tend to be slightly muscular at an ideal weight. That comes from the Metamorphosis book from the 80s. To translate that into like 2020 speech, normal to lower range of the mid BMI, but that's just off the top of my head. Don't like measure that statement too accurately. So yeah, looking at Jackie, you can see she's closer to Catherine in silhouette, but you can still see a little bit of that, again, a little bit of that moderation. She's not as elongated or sharp or vertical. There's still that soft width going on, but it's just a little bit more tapered. And to give you the spectrum so that you can more clearly see the progression of the journey, let's start off with super yin, romantic Liz over here. Look at her silhouette. Notice all three aspects. You add a little bit of yang to her size, her frame, and her flesh, and you get a little bit more of this, of Olivia. You get more elongation, a little bit more straightness, but you maintain the soft edges and the overall kind of gentle nature of your silhouette. Add more yang, more angularity, more tapering, more sharper contours, a little bit more broadness. And then finally, you get to the other end of the spectrum, very vertical, very elongated, very sharp, much more angular in a narrow way, and a lot more streamlined. Right here, I just want to show you the classics through various heights, and a good example of a lack of lower height limit is Veronica Lake, who is 4'11". I think she's a little shorter than Liz, if I'm not mistaken, but you can still see that she looks a lot more moderate in all three aspects. Then you have Grace Kelly, who is at the upper edge of the height for soft classics. Again, this all exists on a spectrum, so soft classics, dramatic classics, you're going to be somewhere in the middle. And the reason that there's no pure classic is that no one is likely to be directly in the middle. You're going to veer one side or the other. On the other side, you have dramatic classics, Catherine Ross, who I swear looks so much taller when I watch her in movies. She's 5'5". You can see that very dramatic classic body type, so similar to Jackie. And then you have Felicia Rashad, same kind of body type, same silhouette. But please remember that these are just very limited samples, very limited examples. And the important thing to remember when trying to maneuver the system is that it's about the patterns. It's about what is dominating your silhouette, and that can manifest in many ways as many seemingly very different looking bodies. But the important part is that you find the accommodations that really bring out the beauty of your silhouette. All right, so how do you bring out the beauty of these silhouettes with the soft classics? Symmetry is paramount, especially if you approach symmetry with a round-edged kind of vibe. You put a soft classic and a circular button-down cardigan, they shine. Blended head-to-toe approach. Don't try to staccato it up. Don't break that line too much. Really high contrast separates can be a little overwhelming. The momentum of the fabrics of the shapes are gently flowing with more horizontal or diagonal draping as opposed to vertical. They don't really need to accommodate a strong vertical. And you'll find shapes with swirls, soft flares, and ovals. Very well formed, nothing too tight, but nothing unconstructed, boxy, or oversized either. With the dramatic classics, they have the same symmetry going on, but they need an angular approach. So like Jackie does here, beautiful plunging, crisp collared v-neck with an elongating necklace that really emphasizes symmetry in an angular, elongating way. The silhouette should be more sculpted, tailored, sleek, taut, geometric, not rounded. They can really shine with diagonal and vertical elongation, and they can really shine in a more dramatic color combination. Dramatics can look great in bold color combinations where the intensity of the top and bottom match and it won't overwhelm them. So how do you not accommodate these types? Put the soft classic in a really staccato outfit, lots of broken lines, no symmetry, jagged edges, or put them in something super tapered, tailored, angular, linear, high contrast. Oppositely, put the dramatic classic in something very loose, boxy, unconstructed, no crispness, no tautness, or put them in something very rounded, slightly poofy, a lot of horizontal emphasis. For some modern examples of classics, we have Naomi Campbell in a gorgeous, did I say Naomi Campbell? Sorry, I meant Naomi Watts in this lovely round neck dress, soft, gentle shape and flare, a little bit of horizontal emphasis there. The florals are not overly intricate. We have Dita Von Teese, nice symmetrical top part, crisp, well-formed but rounded sleeves, nice controlled flare, nothing overly clingy. For the dramatic classics, we have this gorgeous shoulder line here and here, always with the shoulders. That strong kind of V torso or triangle shoulder is perfect on the dramatic classic. A lot of elongation, diagonals, sharper details, rich use of color, tapering, especially through the shoes, sleek, taut. All right, how do you not accommodate these in modern examples? Put the soft classic in something very heavy, elongated, linear, lacks any roundness or softness, or put them in something super clingy. Or put the dramatic classic in something frilly, cropped, delicate, and ornate, or something equally ornate and cluttered with no tailoring, no sculptedness, and no strong sense of unbroken verticality. All right, so that was my little intro to the classic family. This is, again, an intro series, so I won't be getting too specific. If you like more specific and nuanced analyses, definitely check out my style profiling videos where I focus on one individual. And in the next series, or in the next video of the series, I will be covering the juxtaposition of yin and yang with the gamins.